Yes. Okay. Before we begin, can everybody please rise for the pledge? And then immediately following the pledge, we'll have a moment of silence for Officer Ella French, who's still in the line of duty this past Saturday. I pledge allegiance to
the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Will the clerk take the roll?
Bob?
Here.
Alicia?
Here.
Mary?
Here.
Steve?
Present.
Alan?
Here. Citizen input. Do we have any citizens that would like to speak tonight? If so, step forward. State your name and address.
I would emphasize, Mr. President, that the council's approval of the BZA action is not a public hearing. So if anyone wants to comment on that issue, now is the time to do it.
So anybody here for the variance for the family video store? Now's your time to speak. If you want to speak now, you can step forward.
Okay, I'm Deborah Smith. I'm the lady who was here last time, and I'm here again today requesting that I be granted a variance for 1440 Shedfield in Dyer so that I can open that bouncy house up. The bouncy house will be used to entertain children and families, mainly focused on children from like 3 to 12. Yes, there is a bouncy house close to here, but my bouncy house will be totally different from the one that is currently in Dyer. I'll have different opportunities for children and families to get together. 2836 190th Street in Lansing, Illinois.
Thank you.
Do you have any other comments at this time?
No.
Okay, thank you. Yes, ma'am. Please state your name and address.
My name is Linda. Do I have to give you my address?
That's just for the record, yes.
1427 Rosemary Court.
Okay.
I live in the subdivision that's adjacent to that property. I am opposed to that business coming in there. We could walk from that subdivision to a bouncy house. Property since Family Video has gone, and even when Family Video was in there, was not kept up. I think there's quite a few properties in that adjacent area in Dyer that the town has not addressed to maintain appropriately. There's a lot of traffic that comes to that subdivision now. People do not adhere to the speed, do the stop signs. There's children all over. For the first time today, oddly, I was cutting my grass and I saw a Dyer police officer, which I totally appreciated on the corner. I actually realized the buses started. So I don't have young children anymore. Very happy to see that for the young families. I think the property could be better served. An office building, something that is the town going to patrol the traffic? Where are people going to park? I don't think the residents want cars parked all over. We've had a lot of unfortunate situations in the town already that are public, thefts and cars being broken into in Northgate, which is, again, I can walk to these places and it's very upsetting. We have these type of facilities around. I think everyone is aware the town of Cherville is experiencing a lot of problems at the Showplace, at Up Your Alley. These are my concerns. These are great concerns for the community. This is a subdivision and I've been there 29 years. And I wanted to, before I came to this meeting, to actually ask a couple neighbors. I don't think that property, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I don't think when that subdivision was built, we were told that property was going to be commercial property. Now, would it have changed? You know what I'm saying? Any of the homeowners? I don't know. But I'd like to keep the subdivision just somewhat calm and quiet. And we've had problems at the Casey's, and it's not those establishments, right? It's not. But I just think that that property could be better served with something safer, and that's not going to bring in that kind of traffic that the people in that area are going to experience parking problems, people driving through that neighborhood. So those are my concerns as a resident.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other citizens? Yes, sir.
I'm not a citizen, but I represent Legacy Properties.
Yes, step forward, state your name and address.
My name is Ryan Leaf. I live in 631 Hidden Oak Trail in Hobart, Indiana. Thank you again for meeting with us today. I'd like to personally say that the town of Dyer has been a pleasure to work with, and we've gotten great guidance throughout this process, both Deborah and I. So I do want to say thank you to that. It is our goal as a company, obviously, to fill this location with some sort of business, and it's always our goal to have a positive impact on the community itself. We are excited about Deborah's business being a family-oriented place for kids, for parents to come create memories together. As the owners of Family Video, that's what we did for 40 years, and we're excited for her use. I know that it is a variance that we're going through this process to get approval for. But I don't believe it was the spirit or intent of the rezoning to restrict a business use such as Deborah's. There are plenty of other businesses that we could go after to fill that location that would have just as much, if not more, adverse effect of the concerns that the community is speaking on. And I believe her type of business will have a positive impact on the community surrounding her and in the town of Dyer.
Okay. Thank you. Yep. Any other citizens wish to speak? Hearing none, let's move on. I need a motion to accept the consent agenda, which includes the minutes of the May 27th, 2021 Town Council meeting, minutes of the June 10th, 2021 Town Council meeting, minutes of the June 29th, 2021 Town Council special meeting, minutes of the June 29th, 2021 Town Council executive session, minutes of the July 8th, 2021 Town Council meeting, minutes of the July 22nd, 2021 Town Council executive session, claims totaling $2,246,930.69, and also resolution 2021-29 transfer of funds.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
I would just make a note that it appears the minutes of May 27th were approved. See in the minutes of June 10. I don't think that necessarily changes the motion of the second, just a note.
Okay.
So it looks like they were previously approved.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, will the clerk take the roll?
Bob,
Aye.
Alicia,
Aye.
Mary,
Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
Alan,
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Next announcements. Town offices will be closed September 6th in observance of Labor Day. Next, we have Speaker Julie from the Shared Ethics Advisory Commission.
Good evening, everyone,
Good
and
evening.
thank you for letting me be here today. I am Julie McElmurray, and I'm here to give you a quick update on the Shared Ethics Advisory Commission, or Seac. And as a reminder, I represent Dyer on this commission. I have 3 items I'd like to update you on today. First, I was happy to meet with our new town manager this week, and we discussed Seac and what we're doing, and we're going to work well together, and I'm pretty excited about that. We'll probably be asking for some new trainers to be trained after the first of the year, so we'll work together on that. Second, our training committee has been very busy. We've been focused on 3 activities. Most urgently, we have our free of charge Board of Commission training for all member communities the evening of Monday, August 30th. That's at Avalon in Maryville. Registration is open now and available via our website, sharedethics.com. And I brought some flyers with details that I'll hand out to you. Again, this is for board and commission members. And Dave will be sharing that information with our boards and commissions too. This is great training. It's in the evening on a Monday. So anything you can do to encourage board and commission members to attend, that would be great. Also, we are in the process of finalizing an ethics guide. This is a pamphlet that we're going to make available to all employees. And we're in the process of getting this printed right now. It covers our code of ethics and also some common ethical dilemmas. I'm hoping we'll have these ready within the next 2 months, and I'll work with Dave to get them distributed. And he'll also have extra copies available for new employees. We're also working on updating our training curriculum. If you've participated in any of our employee training, you may remember that some of the videos were a little dated. And so we're in the process of getting some new videos created, as well as looking at our process and our just overall training philosophy. And so we're hoping that the new curriculum and the process will be rolled out early next year. And then my third update is we are finalizing plans for our summit this year. This summit is open to the public. It is scheduled right now for Friday, October 29th at Avalon Manor in Maryville. I'll have flyers ready for you, and I'll come back and give those out. Violet Sistaveris, the prominent NIPSCO NiSource executive, is going to be the keynote speaker this year. And I think that's it. Does anybody have any questions?
Thank you for coming.
Oh, no
Yes.
problem.
Thank
Happy
you
to be
for
here
all
in
your
person. Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have town council reports. Councilman Starkey.
Just a few things. First off, Police Chief Alcott, I've noticed that you've had patrols out with the school buses these past few days with school coming back. So I appreciate you having your guys out there doing that. I'd like to take a minute to thank the Parks Board. A couple meetings ago, they had a change order presented to them, and they made the decision to make that change order revenue neutral to stay within budget. I applaud them for that. Chief Martin, I want to give you credit for the increased visibility of the fire department in town. The residents appreciate that. And a note to the public works employees. I saw your folks out there doing some of the branch pickup and shipping on these very hot days. And that's an arduous task. So be sure to send them my thanks. The residents appreciate that service. Go ahead, Mr. President.
Thank you. Councilmember Tanis.
I think that this year's National Night Out was the best. So many people were out there, and you would think that, you know, it's usually full of crowded people, and it was, but it was nice to see all the conversation, all the booths that they had set up, extremely well organized. So I want to thank the police department for doing a great job. Everybody had a great time, and we learned a lot. As you went around from booth to booth, there were lots of instruction were going on. And I too want to thank the PD for checking and making sure that the school buses are protected, because they are through the neighborhoods, and that's a good thing. So thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Myers.
I just want to thank, also, I'm going to reiterate the PD. I've seen a lot more presence on our streets. And a personal thank you to the FD for the tour and opening it up to my kids. And I'm encouraging the rest of our public to go out there and take a tour, get to know everybody. It was fantastic. My kids have not stopped talking about it. They wanted to come today. So, but thank you so much.
Councilman Kramer.
Yes, thank you. And thank you everyone for coming out tonight. Greatly appreciate it. It's good to see you. Again, we all had the same sentiments toward our police department. We really appreciate supporting and making sure you're funded. Thank you for a great night out and being out there for the school buses and just being out patrolling. There's nothing better than seeing a police squad just doing their natural patrolling as they always do. For the fire, and this goes for the police too. You guys did a marvelous job when we had that big accident. Appreciate the timely updates provided to us. Very good. I like it that you're more visible now. You're doing community safety incentives and just doing the outreach program. Fantastic. We are just moving at a lightning speed, and I know I appreciate it, and I'm sure the rest of the council does. So thank you again for that. Department of Public Works. Not only are they out on Tada, but when it was storming, they were out there, out and about, making sure whatever needed to be done, day or night. A lot of people don't realize in the middle of the night if there's a problem, we're at home comfortably sleeping. If the water line breaks or if there's storm damage, our Department of Public Works is out and about and doing what they have to do. So they do a great job. I'm hoping we can make sure that we take care of that department too. Just a quick note from our Congressman, Frank Mervan. He wants to make sure that we're all aware, if you know of anyone having rent issues or problems, whether it's the landlord or the rentee, if they're falling behind and they have this new COVID relief program, it hasn't hardly been used at all. 80% or more of the money is still out there. You go to Consumer Financial Protection. Indiana has it. Indianapolis has it, and you can look up per county and they will advise you and direct you where it's needed. It's supposed to be National Immunization Month. So please talk to your doctors and specialists and consider that. Let's see what else I did. I did have an update on the Pheasant Hill Pond and what's going on. I think I'll just merge that with our park director's report and I'll finish it. Thank you.
Thank you. I also want to thank the police department for a successful National Night Out. Also the vendors that participate. I don't think, people who don't attend this event don't realize that everything there for the kids is free. Ice cream. I try to get in on that, but so it's a great event. I really like it. It's really probably a truly Dyer community event. Really love it. Next, clerk treasurer, Debbie.
Also, I'll concur with all the council with the National Night Out. It was great. All staff did excellent, from Public Works, police, fire. The community liked it. Everybody enjoyed it. Plus, it was nice weather for a change. I do have some donations. I have $200 towards National Night Out and $615 for the K-9 program donations. So if I could have a motion to have those accepted.
I'll have a motion to accept the donations as presented.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. Debbie, will you take the roll?
Bob,
Aye.
Alicia,
Aye.
Mary,
Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
Alan.
Aye.
And I have one more announcement. Hazardous solid waste from the Solid Waste Commission will be doing a Saturday, August 21st at Highland Public Works, where you could take your household hazardous that I just saw popped up today. So just wanted to let everybody know, and I'll give it to Dave, or Dave could tell Jessica to put this up on our website so people know where they could take their.
That's a great program too.
It is. Dyer's been part of it before that I know in the past, but this year it just happened. This time it has to be in Highland.
Thank you. Town Manager Hein.
Thank you. You have a pretty action-packed agenda today, and just wanted to give a quick thank you to everybody that's made my first 4 or 5 weeks here very welcoming. Everybody's working hard together to make this all work. You get to see the inside of this agenda packet from this seat now, and there's a lot of hands that have to put it together and make it work. So I just want to say thank you to everybody keeping that ball rolling and welcoming me in my new spot. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. Governor's office sent some reps, Andrew and Tyler, to speak to myself, anybody who was available. I think Councilman Starkey and Tanis were available at that time. Everybody else had forwarded their concerns. They received some of our requests and looked into it and already responded back with some suggestions. I can't say enough about communication with that level of government is key for our town. Julie took some of my thunder with the the ethics committee, but the boards and commissions will have a flyer sent out to them probably tomorrow. Every one of them encourage them to sign up for the evening on August 30th. So that's what I have for you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Town Attorney Cedia.
Yes, a few items. First, I know property acquisition is an item in the RDC agenda, but I will give the council a quick update. The Trillium and Sheffield properties have gone out. We are still within the 30 days on those, and the Trillium is an item later on the list. Appraisals are starting to come in on the Hart Street properties, and it looks like we're going to need to acquire an easement for the proposed Munster hookup, and NIPSCO wants to acquire an easement from us in Castlewood, so we're working on those. Munster and Highland water purchase contracts are in final draft and are now sent to Munster and Highland for review. From what I understand, the Munster Council will be looking at that at its meeting next week. The next bond cycle is underway, and Dave and I are starting to begin our discussions on that. The Briar Ridge litigation settlement discussions are underway, and the other parties are optimistic. So hopefully that can be finished sooner rather than later. And I also want to echo the council members' thoughts about the National Night Out. This was actually my first time attending, and I was blown away at how friendly and fun the whole event was. And I was blown away that all the food was free too. So thank you everyone who participated.
Thank you. Boards and commissions. Frank, Utility Board.
All of water and sanitary projects are moving briskly ahead, mostly on schedule, and some of them slightly ahead of schedule. You probably noticed the pipes. Some of you may have noticed the pipes over on Trillium and Avenue. It's a 16-inch pipes, and that's going to be for the connection to Munster. I'll probably be getting the pipe for the other connection in the next 2 to 3 weeks. Connection to Highland. So all that's moving again ahead of schedule. We got that pipe sooner than we expected, so we'll commence sooner than we get on a redundant supply main. I shouldn't say redundant supply main, but a redundant distribution main for our booster station on 213, as well as our emergency interconnect on 77, as well as the improvements at the booster station. All those are underway, waiting for some fittings and valves, but otherwise moving along. Our phosphorus project on our sanitary side looks to complete the next 30 to 45 days. Hopefully that project will be wrapping up. And again, that one's on schedule, so we look forward to that. And our treatment plant upgrade, capacity upgrade, that's still working through some design elements right now. If you recall, we had a SWIFT grant that we applied for. Originally they indicated tentatively on the 6th that we would receive the applicants that were being awarded funds would get notification. That's been pushed back 3 weeks to the 27th. So hopefully, again, it got pushed back because there's a lot of applicants. So hopefully we were able to come away with someone from that grant program. So,
All right, thank you. Department heads, Chief Alcott.
Monthly report in July, we had 862 incidences, 50 arrests, 26 accidents, 260 citations, 315 warnings. I'd like to thank everybody for the comments, compliments for our National Night Out. Obviously, you all know, I hope the public understands that the National Night Out it represents the police department, but every department in our community or our town participated in it. It did not get pulled off just by the police department. It was the public works, the parks department, the fire department, the town council. It was a success because we had a team. However, there are 2 individuals that do all the heavy lifting, and Jerry Patrick and Brian Kissinger, who are community policing officers. Corporals do a phenomenal job. The businesses come out and they, as you said, donate everything. They take that out of their pockets to make sure that they help represent us in the community that they live in. We have a great relationship with them, but it did not go, not say enough about the communication that they have with the town council and the departments, and that's why they do it. phenomenal job. Also with the accident, I've seen that we're using a drone a lot. Putting that information out, I think it's helped a lot with the traffic situation at the Park in Sheffield with the tracks right now. It gives a better understanding when you see it instead of just reading about it.
Right.
You'll see more of that at Facebook with who started running that now. Just try to level and try to keep on communicating. Dialogue. All helps a lot. I'm very excited about what can happen in the past couple of months, and again, it would not be successful if it wasn't for past leadership that we have. And Dave is taking over the wheel that is on a fine running ship. Again, thank you.
Thank you. Chief Martin, Fire Department.
Month of July, we had 149 total calls, 692 personnel hours, and we had 480 hours of training, which almost doubled. On one note, we ran into a few calls recently. I can't emphasize enough to the chambers or unlisted in the town, where it's a smoke department, temperatures. Sure that they're being tested under the standards of the chamber. If there's any information needed on a topic like this, reach out to the fire department. Reach out to me directly. All my information. So I'd be happy. We can install smoke detectors for free. So anybody in town with that information, share with any of your neighbors, any of your loved ones. Our dose program for infant safe sleep is already up and running, and we've already had multiple interactions talking about safe sleep. So on top of that, our parsonage groups now is more interactions over the last few weeks. Our community restructured out really well. Thank you all for all the sharing.
Thank you. I also want to thank you for your red shirts on Friday to remember everyone deployed. That's a nice touch. I like that.
Well, I think it's important. I mean, we get to sit in these rooms because of what people have done for us and continue to do for us. Guys, if you have that, Grandpa's World War II all that. So remember everyone deployed. It's something we're going to do every Friday. We'll be doing that tomorrow night, all day tomorrow, and then tomorrow night.
All right. Thank you very much. Rob, Public Works.
The asphalt's complete at the Public Works, kind of cleaning the place up for the open house for the 18th. Also too, that development 1500 North, all the underground is done in that and been inspected. The water's been hydrostatic and T tested. That's complete. Sanitary's in, it still needs to be air tested. I got a note here for the Opticoms. They're supposed to come in August of this month, the end of this month, it may be installed in September for the fire station and Fire Station 2. And also work with Brian Lane on some numbers for the irrigation for the Fire Station 2. Got some more numbers on that. And then I think some of the other stuff's the aqua control numbers for the fountains and stuff. I think that's going to be brought up on some other discussions. So that's all I have, unless you have any questions.
I think that's it. Thank you. Mike, Parks Department.
For Autumn Chase, we just gave the go ahead for Gary Material Supplies to go ahead and start that park improvement project. That was with the IDNR, with the Land and Water Grant. And we got, they're not quite, they're kind of backlog on the IDNR for the projects, but we got a waiver saying go ahead and get started. So they'll be getting started there fairly soon. So once we get the reimbursement back, we should get about $195,000 back from that project. So, which is good. Over at Central Park, the phase 3 with Gary Up Construction, that will be, they are on site. So they're going to be working on the east side of the parking lot, or the north side on the east side of the parking lot first, and working the way west for the parking lot. But we've been out there a couple times already and stuff, so they'll be going good. Dyer Construction is out. Powers and Sons, they are finishing up. They were installing the floors today at the building, and then we got the with the lighting. the 11th was Wednesday, so they got 4 weeks. They're going to be on site within the next 4 weeks to finish that up, and then they'll be out, and then it'll just be the Gary Up project left though. So, but it's shaping up. Over at Veterans Park, I mentioned before about doing the IDNR urban forestry grant, which we did get. So we'll be starting that, I think, in September. It'll be about somewhere between 30 and 37 trees. It's be $20,000 altogether. We're getting $10,000 back on that. So and again, Veterans Park was one of the parks we previously had done as far as improvement. So this would just be the shaded tree landscaping to kind of top it off. Community market this month, August 17th and August 31st, so the next 2 community markets over at Pheasant Hills for the month of August. The park board also, we're working on Elmer Miller park improvement project with the splash pad back here. We had initial design already put together, which I think looks pretty good all together. We'll be talking about that next month a little more in detail, most likely, but that's on pace to be designed, ready to go by the end of the year into next year. And the Cherry Hill, Pheasant Hill project, similar with the Cherry Hill improvements, we have ready design laid out. Pheasant Hills, we have a design for the path already laid out all together. I did send letters to I think it was 24 homes that butt up right up against the water or Cherry Hill Park, and gave them a map of this is what's happening with the time frame of designing this year and then doing the work next year. So did not receive anything back or anything from anyone.
How long ago did you send those out?
Oh, like 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
Yeah, 2.5 weeks ago. So it was before. It was about a week and a half before our Tuesday park board meeting. So.
Okay.
But I gave them the layout exactly how it would look,
Right.
As the last design the park board had looked at. Did you want to add anything else with the water, with the pond? I did. I know at the Tuesday meeting we talked about some water quality stuff. I did talk to the landscape architect that it's assisted with the Veterans Park and Autumn Chase landscaping stuff that we did with Central Park as well. Just to help me out, assist with some tall grasses or improving plants around the shoreline that will incorporate with the path.
Yeah, if you don't mind giving me back a little bit on there.
Yeah.
I've worked with Jeff. Jeff has done a great job helping research pumps because we had a concern about the shallow water pumps and the consistency of the bottom. They have new pumps out instead of pumping vertically from straight down below. They have new horizontal ones that go across just underneath the top of the water and pull up water. And a nice fountain in that area, probably as big as this area, will oxygenate the water and help improve the quality of it. So I also looked at different ponds, and I don't know what the difference between a small lake and a pond is, but everyone calls them ponds, in different areas from Illinois to out in Indiana, and most of them to help improve the water quality, take a multi-stage approach. Thank you, Mike, for mentioning all the different varieties of plants we can put around there that naturally reduce and eliminate the pollution. They'll also help control erosion, help control the quality of water. For the geese, they have, by them being out there, they end up producing E. coli from the runoff from their waste. To keep them away, other facilities and ponds have rented swans, which are a natural enemy. Some people have their own swans, but either way, it's just another natural option to help improve this water. So I believe we're in the right direction. I think we're getting all the right support. You're doing a great job. Thank you. And I do have a possible field trip planned with Frank here to look at a pond and their multiple approach too, to help facilitate a better quality of water and a better facility for their parks. Right?
And just to add actually on the swan, I did Groen's Landscaping actually rents out swans out of Cedar Lake.
Really?
Yeah.
It's interesting. I'm just wondering, once you get them out there, how do you get them back once the rental is done?
When I was reading about it, it basically said, I mean, you got almost cage them, I guess, for maybe 7 to 10 days till they realize this is their new home for the time being. This is where they stay. Their wings, I guess, are pinned back too, so they're just there, basically and stuff like that. But I did ask actually if he could come out on Monday. I was going to show him the pond and just, get some ideas for the next park board meeting and stuff, because I know we talked about that and just to bring some more info back to see how it could work or if it could work exactly and stuff. But I just did a search and I called them and they said, oh yeah, we run it all the time. I was like, oh, great.
Good, yeah. And the last part of that water quality improvement is trying to utilize natural enzymes that occur in bacteria. You can order, they look like little hockey pucks, you put it in water, they dissolve. Jeff told me he already has them. So once we start on this western end, we're going to utilize those to help and see what we can do. Hopefully it improves it greatly and we can spread it out through the whole pond.
Yeah.
And people really will enjoy make sure they have path once we get there.
Yeah. And then the last thing I just had to add, just on the park board wise, is we also just started looking at, and Robinson Engineer gave a proposal for design work to start on the south end of Central Park.
Okay.
It would just basically be from the existing parking lot going south, adding on there. So we just talked about it in our study session. But the idea is to, with the land and water grant, we're doing the 5-year master plan now, which expires at the end of this year. Idea to get that going up again for 2022 to 2026. But as far as funding wise too, the thinking was to possibly submit another land and water application for June 1st of 2021. The design proposal was to get all the work completed by April, but then to submit that in June. We wouldn't be ready to actually start construction most likely till 2023 anyway, for like funding wise and stuff. But by that time we would get the okay, more likely get the okay from the grants and be able to get some money back on that. And that's a project I think they would be interested in because of the size of the park and the acreage. I did talk to them about the possible rec center that we had in the middle, and that's something that they said they would still be okay with. Normally with land and water grants, you can't do any permanent buildings and stuff like that. So, but if they knew that in advance, it would possibly be okay. But we could possibly get go out for the $500,000 because we'll be spending $1 million, if not even more and stuff. But be able to get the total max, which is $500,000 back on that, if assuming that everything lines up with timing correctly.
That would be awesome.
That's all. Yeah.
Thank you.
Your question?
Yeah. Mike, I have a question. Next Wednesday is the stormwater meeting. Is there some way we can kind of coordinate? I know you were going to say, go ahead.
Yeah, for the splash pad.
Well, I just thought, with stormwater and park, we can work together to make sure that Elmer Miller.
I could give them I have the plan. I can send it. There is on the actual Elmer Miller plan though, we do have, it's like, I think it's 75 feet of actually, and we have it marked out where not to go past, because I know that bocce court out there would get chewed up and stuff with that. But the location of this would be, close to that parking lot, the one right behind here, kind of where the old playground equipment would be. And I did show Brian Lane it as well. So it shouldn't be any issue or whatnot, but I'll forward it on to all of them too.
Okay. We had also talked about a kiosk explaining what a peat bog is and what Pheasant Hills Pond is, putting that out there. But I've also had a lot of questions. Who is Elmer Miller? And if we could just have a little explanation about who that park is named after, I think that would be a good idea.
Old clerk treasurer, correct?
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Or former clerk treasurer.
Before we move on, for anyone who's interested, the difference between a pond and a lake is that a pond is a completely photic zone, which means light penetrates to the bottom through the whole body of water.
Yep.
That's not the case with the lake. So these are ponds.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Next,
I learned that we can rent swamp.
Road projects, Neil?
Make a mental note of that. So we have the CCMG 2020-1 Osage and Laurel projects. Those are proceeding on and ahead of schedule. The 2021 locally funded projects, those are on track. So those started this week. Little learning curve with some of the residents, but the contractor's been doing a great job working with them, and we appreciate town staff coordinating with the residents on parking, no parking, and what the focus of that project is, and that's much appreciated. Thanks, Dave. The 2021-2 CCMG application that we submitted about a month and a half ago, we're still waiting NDOT consideration on those resurfacing projects awards, and that's the remainder of your 2021-1 reconstruction projects that we were awarded in April. That is the next item that you currently have under consideration. So those projects, we don't know when those will be submitted, but they have been submitted. I'm sorry, we don't know when those will be approved, but they have been submitted with the help of town staff, and we appreciate working with Jeff and Brian and Dave on that. The current 2021-1 award, which was $674,000, you have the bid report before you tonight with a 2022 construction schedule. And those bids were opened on August 11th at 9:30. We had 5 bidders. The engineer's opinion of cost was $2,471,723.40. And of those 5 bids, the range was from $2,246,557.30 to $2,728,381.86. There were no errors noted in any of the bids, and all bidders submitted the required bid security addendum, signed, and non-collusion affidavit. So based on state statute, the recommendation is to the lowest, most responsive and responsible bidder for that contract. And that recommendation is to Geary Material Supply LLC, and that amount is $2,246,557.30. Any questions?
Have we ever dealt with that firm before?
They have never been a road contractor for the town. They have done other projects with the town, and I rigorously reviewed all of their financial statements, references, past projects, and we see no reason to disqualify them in any way whatsoever. They met all the requirements of the plans and specifications that were prepared that all bidders submitted to.
And it's my understanding that they subcontract the paving work out to Walsh and Kelly.
Which is now Milestone Contractors
Okay.
North, but yes, I still call them Walsh and Kelly, and I don't think they're offended by that.
Right. Okay. Thank you, Neil.
Thank you. And if you guys so positively consider that award tonight, we are on a timeline with NDOT as they require us to submit the request for funds letter to be signed by Dave, and we have to return to them the notice of award, copies of the contracts, the non-collusion affidavit, which was submitted by the contractor, and all of the project documents by August 29th. So we have prepared a notice of award, and I've delivered that to your town manager for consideration upon your review of this recommendation.
Thank you.
Thank you, Neil.
Thank you.
We'll do that shortly.
Okay. Any questions?
You said the 2021-2, this year was the Carnation Edgewood's showing Sycamore. But which one was the one still outstanding?
The 21-2 that we've submitted the application for, that is resurfacing projects that were actually intended to be done in 2022 and 2023, but due to the schedule of the work you guys have approved, we're able to move those up. The 2021-1 projects that you have in front of you, that's the Carnation, Edgewood, and Schilling projects.
And the resurfacing projects for next year for 2021-2. Is there a list of those somewhere? You don't need to recite them now.
It is. It's on the map that I sent out before, and I can send it out again. It's one of the layers on the left-hand side, 2021-2.
Thank you.
Thank you, Neil.
Thank you.
we've been discussing this, but next we have the Pheasant Hills Fountain. Do we need to take any action on that tonight?
Is there any guarantee
No.
that goes along with that?
I mean, yeah, if you want to, if there's no proposal before the board as far as cost,
Okay.
go, I mean, I would wait for parks to come up with something before the council. takes
Okay.
anything.
Okay. I did speak with Jeff regarding the pump earlier, and the thought was if we had problems at Pheasant Hills Pond, we could try it at another pond. So it wouldn't be a lost cause if there's issues with mud there.
If you're so inclined to take action tonight, I've spoken with Public Works Director and he's comfortable with a not to exceed amount there that I've recommended, including the cost of the actual pump. Just depends on how soon you guys want to get this in the water.
Is there any guarantee for it though?
There's a guarantee to work or a
Yeah.
guarantee?
Guaranteed to work?
Well, I think the guarantee is if you get water in it, the water will come out the top. And they're,
Right. Well, I know that in Stormwater, they were discussing it.
yeah.
So that's where the.
I think at this point, we've determined that stormwater doesn't see that there's a usable stormwater feature to it. So
Right.
at this point, we're looking at aesthetics and the oxygen, say that again for me, Steve?
Oxygenation.
There you go, for that area. Jeff has said that when they do install it, it will be retro. If you wanted to add additional, if this was a success
Okay.
and you wanted to get more out there, that they would have a shore work all done for that.
Okay.
What's that number not to exceed that?
Not to exceed 20,000. That's including the purchase of the pump, the installation of the fountain, and bringing it to the shore, and that would include the electrical onshore that Jeff would need still to do.
Well, I'd like to make a motion that we move forward with that, but not to exceed $20,000.
Do I have a second? Any discussion?
So the difference between the 12,531.50 and the 20,000 at 8,000 is more or less what electrical may cost.
Shore work, yes, to take it from the current station that's right there to the shore and have it in ready a series if there was additional ones.
Any other discussion?
I think we'd have to determine if you'd like, if it passes favorably, we would go back and see what funds that we could get this out of at that point. But if you so direct me to work with the clerk treasurer, see what applicable funds would be available for this type of project after the action.
Okay.
Okay.
Will the clerk take the roll?
Bob,
Aye.
Alicia,
Aye.
Mary,
Hi.
Steve,
Aye.
Alan.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0, and we could speak later about, with the clerk about where we'll get the money from.
Okay, thank you.
Next, we have proposal to perform utility energy services for the town of Dyer. Is Mr. Summers here?
Yes, yes. If you recall, this is the proposal for the last one. Essentially, and I'll let Ted take over in a second just to summarize. Fiscal's bringing rate cases for the IURC that can impact the rate classes that Ted here is informed and works through Indiana Municipal. Oh. It formed and works through Indiana Municipal Utility Group that has worked for a number of years intervening in these cases on behalf of municipalities before the IURC. Usually there's a number of communities that are involved in each of the actions, as there is here, and I'll let Ted speak to that. In the past, he's worked with the town, most recently on the LED lamp replacements. So you're probably familiar with his work from there, along with Dr. Kramer. Also, more recently, he has been an expert witness in the litigation with Hammond regarding our rate increases. And some of you probably remember him from that Zoom call. Without, I guess, further delay, Ted, if you may, please.
Well, anything I can say is going to tarnish my reputation after that. That was fun in Hammond, by the way. It was really, really fun to, not often you find somebody so vulnerable. Usually it's not that way. I've been a CPA since 1979. Okay. And I've spent all that time on rate work of one sort or another. in Missouri. I was with the Missouri Public Service Commission for 5 years until they put me on an audit of the Wolf Creek nuclear plant, which would have me away from home for 2 years. And I thought, I'm not going to do that. So I came up and started the technical staff for the Office of Utility Consumer Counselor. They trained them, then I left. And then when about 2008 hit, in between that, I did all kinds of utility work for municipalities around here, rate studies, that kind of thing, economic development. But in 2008, when the economy tipped over the edge, I said I'm not going to do as much work as I did before, charging people, because I want to do only things that help. And this was one of them. There was a required rate case that NIPSCO had to file in 2011. And I came to the group of 16 plus and presented at that. And I have a presentation that's pretty persuasive, and I'll send it if you want to see it. And it listed all the interveners that were there. And the interveners included the Citizens Action Coalition, Indiana Coal Council, Indiana Coalition for Affordable and Reliable Electricity, Board of Commissioners of LaPorte County, Indiana, Modern Forge, NIPSCO Industrial Group, NLMK, Northern Indiana Commuter Transportation District, Peabody Coal, Sierra Club, Walmart. And there were no municipalities involved. And I looked at what the last order of the commission showed as a result. If you look at the numbers that are in there, you can tell who is subsidizing who with the rates. And it was obvious that streetlights were subsidizing a great deal of what was going on. So I talked East Chicago, Valparaiso, Winfield, Dyer, Griffith, Schererville, and Munster, into supporting me in that effort. And I have with me a whole bunch of documents that I don't want to get into because nobody wants to hear about most of this stuff. But my testimony was in two different electric rate cases, because they filed one, and then right when they were about finished with the first one, they decided they were going to withdraw it, and they filed the second one. That almost made me go broke, because those things are long and they're expensive. So anyway, when NIPSCO filed their second case, they made a pretty big error. And my cost of service guy told me, and I told him to call NIPSCO and ask about it. And he says, well, what do you want them to do? I said, I want them to come talk to me. And so we sat down, and they had their heads hanging low. It's like a $15 million error. They said, what are you going to do with this? And I said, well, the question's not what am I going to do with it? The question is what are you going to do with it? Because I'm not going to stand up on the courthouse steps and chew you guys up. You're in relation to Dr. Kramer?
No relation.
Okay. That would have been a big one. So anyway, when it was all said and done, they gave us all the fees back that we paid to the consultants. And that was enough to get us launched into the new law called the TDSIC, which is what we're addressing now. Those are 7 increases that can take place of up to 1.8% every year for up to 7 years. And then on the 8th year, you file a base rate case. Well, the base rate case year is next year. And when you do the new TDSIC, which they've already filed, you have to figure out what the allocations are between the various classes of customers. And those go on what are called riders. And there's about 15 riders in their tariffs. And it says which class of customer has charges from those riders applied to them when the bills go out. And I guess what I'm saying here and now is we have to file by the 31st of August. I'm sending data requests out next week, and I'm going to ask them something about something. One of the biggest things they want to do is get all their advanced meter infrastructure and AMR into rates. And like for Duke, it was like $110 million. And I don't think they've said yet what it is here because they haven't sent out the RFI. But my first thought is okay. And I know people just like to say hammer, everything's a nail if you're a carpenter and you got to hit with a hammer. Well, streetlights, they're all, if you look in their tariff, they're all listed separately. And they're the sum of some different components, but they are individually priced out. And you don't have meters on streetlights. So I am going to make sure that they are not intending to allocate any of this $100 million to streetlights. And when I put my proposal together, I had said something about being defensive. That's defensive. See what I'm saying? Just keep the others from piling on, so to speak. Anyway, when I started this out, I wanted everybody to pay something. My proposal was everybody pay something in respect to the savings they got from our efforts. And then I talked to East Chicago, and my acquaintance over there went to the mayor, and they just came back and said, here, tell you what, we'll put in 20,000 and 4 others put in 20,000. And I said, that's going to be a hard sell. But Cherville signed. They've been my client since '89. And Highland said they'll sign if 4 others sign. And Cherville said they didn't want to do it alone, by the way. Who else have I been to see? Highland said they'd do it if 4 others signed. And you would be the 4th if you would say something similar. And I understand that you're not as large as these others.
That's correct.
So here's what, when we get done with this, and if I can get some fees back, which would be a goal, the first $10,000 I get back in fees, I'll write you a check. That kind of evens the playing field, and we don't have to tell East Chicago, plus the papers there. So that's kind of where I'm at with this. I have a long checkered career, and I just love doing this stuff.
I'll tell you what, really, what we've been looking at the last few years, it seems like every time we have a holdup with roads or anything, it's NIPSCO. And here we sit, time after time after time. Here's the other thing that happened at our house. We have Generac.
Yes.
And the person that was doing the maintenance on it, he said, you know, you racked up 20 hours this year that the generator was running. He says, typically it's more like 3 or 4 hours. He said, this is unbelievable that you should have 20 hours. So it tells me, you know, he said, is there something wrong with the grid here or something? Well, no, it's the trees that are falling down on the lines and so forth. But, you know, I mean, I think that this is going to help us. You've helped us in the past, and now with your deal of 10,000.
I have a direct line to their general counsel. Those aren't the people out in the field, but when the general counsel calls the head of regulatory, who calls the head of operations, people listen. So I'm there for that too.
I'll make a motion to approve the proposal to perform utility energy services for the town of Dyer for 20,000, provided that we get a check back.
Well, I can't tell you whether you're going to get the check back until I get the check back at the end of it. Sorry.
So, and provided we have 4 other signatories.
Right, absolutely. Yes.
And one question, if I get another 20,000 from the ratepayer trust fund, that would make the 100,000, and it should be okay then. I just have to tell East Chicago that we got the money, and now let's go forward.
Okay. I know we've dealt with you before, and it's always worked out for the best. So it's our return on investment.
That's my objective.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
This is a matter of record as a senior engineer with the Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission.
Steve. I recognized you.
In some form, I would like to move forward, but I need some more information. I would like to see what you propose to us in writing. Sorry, that's just what I need to have in writing, and I don't see that agreement in writing. And I do have some other questions. I know I'm sort of speaking out of turn because we're supposed to get a motion in a second and then ask for a question. And I do appreciate you allowing me to speak up. I don't mind moving forward, I guess, but like I said, I would need some information. If we could have everything we talked about delineated and put in writing, including this, I think I'd be much more comfortable. The little agreement on, I hit a certain level, we get a rebate.
I think the problem is we don't have another meeting and you need to file by the 31st.
I do.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
Could we call a quick special meeting? I'm a little uncomfortable because it's a little new right now. I like the idea. I like the concept. I think you've done a good job and I know a little bit about your history. So that's what I need. Could we get that? Could we do a motion? I'll defer to you if you'd like, but can we do a motion contingent upon getting that agreement in writing?
Well, we need a second first. And then
Right.
you can
Okay.
amend the motion.
Yeah.
As president, can I second that motion?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you don't get another second, you can.
All right, I'll second the motion on the floor. Any other discussion?
I will just say, I know Bob Glennon by reputation, and this is, he's one of the best out there. And this is an area where you need specialized counsel for it. It's highly technical and highly procedurally idiosyncratic. And I would just say that the sooner this can get on board and running, the better it'll be, because there are deadlines involved. And if you do want to have a special meeting, I would say no later than next week. But nothing in the proposal I've read here strikes me as oppressive or shady, or it doesn't raise good questions in my mind.
The issue on writing a possible check, I just would like to see that in writing with some agreement on. We have this motion not only contingent upon the other four, but also with that part of the agreement.
Is that possible to do that, Mr. Summers?
Sorry, my hearing aids are on the car. I didn't quite hear the last part.
Is it possible to get some kind of written agreement stating we would get our 10,000 back?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay. Then, Councilmember Tanis, would you like to amend your motion?
Yes, yes.
And you have to amend the second.
Okay, and then I'll amend the second.
Yep.
That we need this letter for approval.
Council President Brooks,
Yes.
when we first went through this, when I was on the council, who was really fluent with a lot of this as a clerk treasurer was Michael Griffin, who kind of guided Mary and myself through all this.
Yeah.
So that might be someone that, if Steve wants to reach out to him to talk
Okay.
with him, but he is very, he was the one that helped get all this together in the beginning back in the day.
All right, thank you. Is there
Just to
any,
let you know.
any other discussion?
Mr. President, if allowed, I have one
Yes,
statement,
yes.
if we could. In your proposal, it says that you will work to expand the group to dilute the costs. Is there still a possibility of a sixth community that would immediately dilute the costs? Or at this time, and given the deadline that you're in for 5 and that's,
Well, I'm not gonna stop looking.
Okay.
But immediately it's kind of quick.
okay,
I have to arrange to come up and see Dustin over at Munster.
Okay.
Talk to him.
Okay.
And I've talked to
Very
John
nice.
Haynes over at Whiting, and
Okay,
they're probably not gonna do it, but what the heck? Gotta ask.
okay, thank you. Is there any other discussion or question? Hearing none, will the clerk take the roll?
Bob,
Abstain?
Alicia, Mary,
Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
Alan.
Aye, motion carries 4-1. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Council, Attorney Seedy, I have a question. Since Bob abstained, do we have to do a conflict of interest just for this situation that I have to file online with the state board?
Well, he abstained, so.
Okay, I just was double checking for public record to protect both.
Next, we have the bid award 2021-1 Ccmg street resurfacing. Do I have a motion to award the bid to Gary Material Supply LLC an amount of $2,246,557.30?
I'll make that motion. Go ahead.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, will the clerk take the roll?
Bob,
Aye.
Alicia, Mary,
Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
Alan.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. Next, we have the property acquisition update, 216 Trillium Park access.
You would start this one.
Either way, I could lead into it if you want.
That's fine.
We received the correspondence back from the owner with a counter offer. Attorney Seedy has prepared a document for you. It seems as if they're ready to go. They just have a couple small stipulations to preserve what they've sold to the community for that area.
Yeah, so what you have before you is a counter offer for, the offer was based on the average of the appraisals. It was 99.5. The counter came in at 112. And they want to impose a condition that the property not be used for vehicles. Essentially, they don't want it to be made into parking lot, which wasn't the plan anyway. Regarding how this will work, if the counteroffer isn't accepted, if we don't negotiate an agreement, the next step would be to file for a condemnation in court. But we will acquire the property. The issue will be what the price is. So the court will have each of us pick an appraiser who isn't Mr. Bale or Mr. Bucknowski. Those two will pick a third appraiser. They'll file a joint report with the court as to what the property value is, the fair market value of the property is. And then we can hire a separate expert to rebut that. And the court will decide based on the evidence what the price should be. Between my fees, which because this is litigation, will be outside of the monthly amount you pay me. Plus the appraiser's fees are split, and then any outside expert we need to hire. The cost of litigation could easily reach the $10,000, $12,000 difference. And there's no guarantee that the appraiser's report from the court will come back in our favor.
Right.
Remember, these appraisers are years old, and I'm willing to bet the price of property increase since then. So from my perspective, the council can do one of the three things. It can either reject by motion, it can accept the counteroffer with the condition, it can propose a counter to the counteroffer, or it can instruct the town manager and me to keep negotiating until we reach a position that we think will be favorable. So any of those four options are viable.
Okay. Do I have a motion to accept the counter offer? I believe it's 112,000.
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, will the clerk take the roll?
Bob,
Aye.
Alicia, Mary,
Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
Alan.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Next, we have ordinance and resolutions. Ordinance 2021-14, creation of the Dyer Preservation Commission. This is the second reading.
I'll make the motion that we pass ordinance 2021-14, the creation of the Dyer Preservation Commission on second reading.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I still have the same concerns as I did previously when this was looked at. The owners of some of the buildings, especially the ones that were mentioned to be targeted, were concerned that it may restrict their ability to sell it because of the requirements of being under that historical name or marker. But I do understand this is just a permit commission right now, and there are no areas selected.
Right. it would not hinder their ability to sell it.
Well, it would, if they're under the restrictions, they can't change in historical.
Well, I think there's no official hindrance on their ability to sell. What I think, Councilman, and I'm not putting words in your mouth here, so correct me.
Okay.
What I think the concerns are is that it will create doubts in the minds of potential buyers because it's designated. But as far as any restriction, the only restriction would be on making changes to the character of the property that alter its historical nature. And for that, it would go to the Preservation Commission before the Plan Commission. It's just an added layer of supervision.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
They're usually a good source,
Right.
recommendations.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, will the clerk take the roll?
Bob?
Aye.
Alicia? Aye. Mary?
Aye.
Steve?
Aye.
Alan?
Aye. Ordinance passes 5-0. Next, we have ordinance 2021-16. Amendment to the 2021 salary ordinance.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance number 2021-16, an ordinance amending ordinance 2020-17, establishing the salaries, wages, and compensation for the town of Dyer, Lake County, Indiana for the year 2021.
What? Do I have
Our
a
first
second?
reading.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
And just to be clear, this is on creating the new position of assistant town manager,
That is correct.
along with a hourly rate. I think it was $43, if I'm correct.
Yes, that's correct.
And based on our prior discussion, I do understand who the majority of the council would like to utilize in the town manager. I spoke with the town manager. Thank you, David, for that clarification. Appreciate it.
Any other discussion?
I do have one question on the very back of it. The very last page under fire chief. It's still highlighted as quarterly. Was that just a holdover from the previous change that we did last page? I only asked because the 1100 is the same. I didn't know if that was still highlighted because maybe we did change that from quarterly or if again.
Correct. It is quarterly. It is the copy that was used that was highlighted in yellow for your copies, but yes, that is not in this.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, will the clerk take the roll?
Bob?
Aye.
Alicia? Mary?
Aye.
Steve?
Abstain.
Alan?
Aye.
I'll make a motion to suspend the rules and pass it on second reading.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, will the clerk take the roll?
Bob?
Aye.
Alicia?
Aye.
Mary?
Aye.
Steve?
Abstain.
Alan?
Aye. Do what?
The motion was to suspend and to approve, so.
Okay.
You're good.
Okay, we're good. Next, we have ordinance 2021-17, adopting the water rate increase schedule through fiscal year 2030.
If I can present before there's a motion. What the tracker ordinance did was it just created general language allowing the council to increase rates as our suppliers' charges increase. This was an ordinance that allows you, in other words, we didn't pass the tracker ordinance locking in the schedule because it allows some flexibility if there's an unforeseen charge increase outside of the settlement agreement. So what you have now is an ordinance adopted under the tracking ordinance. Our situation is kind of unique in that we know what the rates are going to be for the next 10 years because of the settlement agreement. Ordinarily, you pass a tracker and just say, when our suppliers increase their charges, we'll pass an increase and we don't need a public hearing for it. Since we have these rates set now, what you're voting on is, first of all, adopting the rate increase that was part of the settlement agreement. And then on page 2, you have the minimum charge is increased proportionate to the increase in the costs in the rate schedule. So the minimum charge is tied to the rate increase, and it's properly brought within the confines of the tracker ordinance. I can answer any questions you have about them.
Does anybody have any questions? Do we have a motion on the floor to approve this?
I'll make a motion that we adopt ordinance 2021-17, adopting the water rate increase schedule through fiscal year 2030 on first reading.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes. Did you get those changes that we needed for the system?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, everything's in place.
Will the clerk take the roll?
Bob,
Aye.
Alicia,
Aye.
Mary,
Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
Alan.
Aye. Do I have a motion to suspend and adopt the ordinance 2021-17 on second reading?
So moved.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, will the clerk take the roll?
Bob,
Aye.
Alicia,
Aye.
Mary,
Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
Alan.
Aye. Next, we have resolution 2021-30, uncollectible debt. Debbie, before we begin, would you want to add to this?
This is just all the uncollectible from the water bills that we haven't been able to collect. There was only one name on here that I recognized. I tried getting a hold of them, but couldn't. So I don't think the phone number, they switched it or something, but I know they're still in the area, but I couldn't get a hold of them. But this is just everything from the water bills that we haven't collected. And this comes about twice a year usually.
Do I have a motion to approve resolution number 2021-30?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, will the clerk take the roll?
Bob,
Aye.
Alicia,
Aye.
Mary,
Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
Alan.
Aye, motion carries.
And I just
5.
want you to know our girls work really hard to collect every single dime and dollar.
Thank you. New business. We have the Board of Zoning Appeals use variance for 1440 Sheffield.
Yes, as you may know, the Board of Zoning Appeals 3-1 with 1 abstention gave a favorable recommendation for approving the use variance. Before there's a motion and before there's any discussion, I just want to read to you the statute that sets forth the standard for permitting a use variance. The board may impose reasonable conditions as part of its approval. A variance may be approved only upon a determination that, number 1, the approval will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community. Number 2, the use and value of the area adjacent to the property included in the variance will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner. Number 3, the need for the variance arises from some condition peculiar to the property involved. Number 4, the strict application of the terms of the zoning ordinance will constitute an unnecessary hardship if applied to the property for which the variance is sought. And number 3, approval does not interfere substantially with the comprehensive plan adopted. So all 5 of those must be met for the approval. With that, I'll leave you the floor, unless you have questions.
I would like to make a motion to deny the variance for 1440 Sheffield Avenue.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Just some quick points to point out. I think most of those bullets that the attorney talked about works out in favor of the person with the business. The last one, which is, does it go along with our comprehensive plan? I think that's where everyone has a little bit of disagreement. At some point, we've got to put a little trust and faith in our BZA board. They did hear it. They went to a hearing. They heard all the parties involved. I know we had at least 4 or 5, maybe 6 residents come in and talk. Some of the issues were parking, which is a non-issue. That facility cannot hold more people than with the parking spots. Hiring most of the people at the business requested were children. So obviously children don't drive. If there was going to be a way to allow it, I would probably ask that we also have them put in a bike rack for parents and children to ride there. We're trying to make our town more walkable and rideable. The other issue of other balancing places in town, we have the same gas stations right down the street from each other, 5 or 6 of them. We have the same pizza places all over. I mean, there's multiple businesses in the same business realm that are close to each other. It just seems to be that McDonald's and Burger King, the theory that they do build next to the other one, that's where all the people are going anyway. Let's see. So my only other concern is, and I do try to side with the residents, was I look at a possible business, and that place has been left open for a long time. And gas stations and everybody else have tried to get in. You know that there are within that zone 2 other businesses that can come in and allow without no say whatsoever from the council, from the planning commission, or the BZA, or the residents. No say whatsoever. I don't know if everyone was aware of it. Wish we would have handed out. So in the zone 2, the type 1 use permitted, and this was sent by Brian Lane to all of us, so we all know this. They can do retail sales and services in different forms of fashion. It's just limited to non-warehouse type. Offices, warehouse, auto dealer offices, food services, seating, a total of up to 120 patrons, so 119. They could have a restaurant there, an issue. I know one resident was worried about the food being put in the dumpster, but you know, next door to Cases has food all the time. They used to have a little ice cream place in there. A daycare is allowed, and it says parentheses, all ages. So they can technically put a daycare in there for 14, 15, 16, 17, 18-year-olds. And there's nothing we can do about it. And the residents won't get to say. Studios, music studios, art studios, dance studios, I guess. Banks, medical centers, health clinics, automobile parking lots and structures, lodging of not more than 24 guests and limited to 3 stories high. And I'm just going through some of these that can be brought in with no say whatsoever. Resident and work living units, civil uses. There's special exception, but through the civil uses, the community, the governments can decide if it's going to be a government building, a community center, a library, post office, public transit facilities. Those are allowed, municipal services. So those are allowed. I just want everyone to think about family-oriented business. And I looked through what they have. I think we have an opportunity to provide a woman and minority-owned business. Diversification is only our strength in our community. I don't know the downside to a jumpy house that's going to have little birthday parties. I really don't. So the feeling I get is there's not enough on the council that are going to go with it. I do side with the risk, but at some point there's going to be something in there. We should look at what's presented to us, and if we need to change it or modify it a little, that's what we should look at. I'm just concerned that in the future, a different business is going to come. Residents aren't going to like it. Town may not even like it, but unfortunately, there's nothing we can do about it. But it's just my concern. But thank you for listening.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
I just really, when I look at the jumpy house, there's a better place for it other than that, because I know the residents are very concerned, but I think that there's other opportunities as I look throughout town, you know, that it would fit in better. And I'm just going along with the comprehensive plan. You know, we want to have what the comprehensive plan exactly tells us to do.
And I would agree. We spent about 2 years working on a comprehensive plan. We're trying to turn Sheffield from 30 to the new train station into our downtown area. And unfortunately, it just does not fit in with what our plans are.
Call a question.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, will the clerk take the roll?
Bob,
Aye.
Alicia, Mary,
Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
Alan.
Aye. Next, any and all. Any other business? Oh, I do have an item. As you know, we had a serious accident up there at 213th and Calumet. Today, the town manager and I met with the pastor of the church. He's very concerned about the safety of the kids at the school there. Obviously, we need to take some kind of action. We're kind of limited as what we could do there just because of the setup with the bridge on 213th. But I would like the council to consider lowering the speed limit on Calumet to 35. We're going to have to eventually do it with development coming in. Munster did it a couple of years ago. That's one step we can take. Neil, would you talk about that preemptive light briefly?
Sure.
Neil has a suggestion about the traffic light, which I think also would help.
Yeah, I think based on the signalization that you have there and the preemption for those buttons, relatively cheap, quick and easy, you could have, Rob and Jeff coordinate with Midwestern Electric or Hawk or whoever to provide additional preemption for that western side of Calumet Avenue, just for the north-south area. That is, as soon as the next cycle comes through the traffic signal, then everything turns red and only north-south traffic would be there. Because I would imagine without doing a traffic study, and frankly, you got better things to use with your money and my time, north-south is really the only major movements you have through that 213th and Calumet Avenue corridor. But that'd be something that you could do with no engineering, simply coordination with the Public Works Department and a contractor to work through that, either through signalization or some, minor additional facilities or additions there that would accommodate that you could do that allows that movement from the church to the school. Because moving west on 213, there's essentially no sidewalk across that county maintained and operated bridge over our ditch there.
And from what we understand, structurally, the bridge is in good condition. So we're years away from having that replaced.
Yeah.
So I would just like the council to think about taking action to lower the speed limit. And then we can work with Public Works and Midwest Electric to set that light so it's a little safer there.
Yeah, there may be additional equipment that needs to be installed, but I would imagine it's probably a programming issue that you could deal with.
Okay.
And I'd
Just
like
for
to
my
see the sidewalk.
information- Go ahead.
I'd like to see the sidewalk replaced.
The problem is we can't get the sidewalk across the bridge. I mean, Neil also brought up suggestion of a footbridge there. That's something we could have Jeff from Public Works call a manufacturer and see what a bridge would cost.
Yeah, you can get prefabricated pedestrian bridges that you got to put an abutment on the east and west side of the ditch there, have it prefabbed, brought out, stabilized and set in place. And it's pretty reasonable. And a lot of that can be done on a staff level that you'd be well advised.
The thought is if we had pedestrian bridges on either side of the bridge, when the kids come out of church, they can walk west across the bridge to Madison, safely cross over, then go back east and then into the school.
Yeah, the north side of 213th it's ideal. The south side with the vegetation you have there and a lack of a proposed path, you'd be well advised to consider the north side of 213th. west of Calumet, yeah.
Okay. Well, a couple of questions. One, doesn't the county own the right of ways along on the drainage?
They do.
What
And
is the right of way from the top edge?
75 feet.
75 feet?
Yeah.
And are, you can build within it, or you gotta build only with their permission?
No and yes. Yeah, you need, essentially you need the Pope's blessing on that one to work through the drainage board, but they're incredibly reasonable, provided you're not obstructing flow or providing a net negative impact for the ability for the county to maintain that bridge, which is under their jurisdiction through the highway department. But, you know, you set the elevations at a point that's higher than the bottom of the bridge deck, and you would be able to show you don't have any issues with that.
Thank you, Neil.
Thank you.
Neil. Any other discussion? Hearing none, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Voice vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
10-minute break.
Yes.
RDC
the August 12th of the Dyer Redevelopment Commission meeting. We've done the Pledge of Allegiance. We've had roll call. Do we have any citizen input? Please state your name and your address.
Want to make any public comments about that? This will be your time now. Don't not required to, but if you want to, this is your opportunity. Correct.
We started.
We are starting, you guys are, you guys have a lot of places. We asked you to be excited because we are, and we've been, this has been long drawn out, which I know this process is long drawn out, but our family has been enduring the time, and now I had to jump the ball and put on a house, and I put an offer on it, and so I'm waiting. You guys have the offer in the wrap, and I'm here tonight to request to get that, to see that. That's gonna make or break my deal for my new home. My children will be able to school. I need to know what direction I'm going here. So I can't leave tonight trying to answer because I leave my deadline, my contingency of my home that I could be off on. I asked you guys to take consideration the hardship that my family's been put in with the firing of the home, which we've known about for years. So I just, I'm here to beg for some answers because like I said, Sunday I need to say yay or nay to a home that we found for our family.
Thank you. Thank you for coming.
Sure.
Any other citizen input? Hearing none, we will move along with the consent agenda, which consists of the minutes of the July 8th, 2021 Redevelopment Commission meeting. Claims totaling $92,660.90. Do we have a motion for approval of the consent agenda as presented?
I'll make a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Bob,
Aye.
Alicia,
Aye.
Mary,
Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
Alan.
Aye.
Moving along, the old business is the property acquisition update, the Hart Street Homes, the two-stage ditch project. You have before you the market appraisal.
Yes, you have two market appraisals which were ordered for the property at 2208 Hart Street. Mr. Boknowski's final appraisal valuation is $201,000. And Mr. Vale's appraisal is, one of them always puts it at the front, 205. So under statute, and given the request for immediate action, this, if the board is so inclined, it can make a motion to extend an offer, which is the average of the two appraisals, or $203,000, which we would then send out with a 30-day deadline before filing any action for condemnation. I can answer any questions you might have.
Do I have a motion to approve the $203,000? Sure. Yeah, I mean, that's what we had citizen input before. That's okay. Go ahead.
Three-car garage, 1,800 square foot, it's for 200.
But these are the market values.
Correct. Should I pull it up right now?
No.
Really low to me. It's
Understand.
seen on the internet, there's anywhere from
260 at least. We found a comparable home for 260. 260
That
all.
seems like the lowest number I've seen.
None of us up here, sir, are appraisers. This is what certified appraisers have come back with.
Market value.
Market value of that home?
I got all kinds.
My opinion.
But they're getting offered for 30,000, 40,000 over asking from.
Okay.
Fee simple, market
All right,
value,
Okay,
and
no,
market
no,
value.
so that we're gonna have to.
We're gonna deny it.
Yeah.
Well, the offer
We're
has.
gonna have to get our lawyer then involved.
Yeah, I'll see you guys for it.
We're gonna have to get our lawyer and that needs to be drawn out because my.
Well,
what
that's
I'm
how,
seeing
that's how it
here-
works. I've done this many times before, and we'll talk with your lawyer.
Well, we're gonna have to do that because what we're seeing is that the market value for the home in Dyer is nowhere near a three-bedroom home, that 2.5-car garage. You can't find one here for under 260. on top of that, there's a percentage over market value that the town is supposed to compensate us for.
Not in this
For-
case, not in this case.
I'm
That's,
assuming you guys are, yeah.
no, not in this case. This is what the legislature has prescribed. The town hires 2 appraisers. We give the offer is the value of the 2 appraisals. If you want to challenge the methodology of those appraisers, that's what the condemnation proceeding is for. But right now, we're following state statute in this motion.
They never measured it, they just walked through that. They're like, oh,
We've got different figures as well.
do they appraise it at 1,400 square foot or 1,863? I've seen like 3 different numbers. Square foot, and I just want to know what they're about.
Doesn't the assessor do that too?
16.
A veil or buttons.
Double hung windows in the house, and it's new.
I mean, we could.
Bunknowski.
Why don't we just make a copy? I could give them my copy if you want at the end and look at it. It's not going to change anything the board does today because we have our 2 appraisers.
It's gonna change the fact that I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
But the offer hasn't gone out yet.
Okay.
It's gonna change the fact that, A, the figure is not correct. B, I gotta make sure the figure in the paper that you're looking at is correct because, like I said, we get the 3 square foot in our home. So that has to be correct. If they're appraising our home, well, it's very important to be accurate. So yes.
I mean, they could have made that big tiny yellow house across the street, 230,000 2 years.
And that house is smaller than our house.
When that house was cactus size, and mine was 1 car per house. I have 3 cars.
The county was involved with that.
Right.
With a brand new roof, I have all brand new double hung windows all throughout my house. I have brand new granite
Right,
countertops,
Lisa,
all
it's not
new
putting
floors.
Well,
your house
you know,
because you're not
Yeah, you
doing
guys,
that.
you guys told us we couldn't do an addition 2 years ago to make more space at our house. You guys were gonna purchase it. You dragged it on for 2 years, and now you're telling me you're gonna give me 200,000? That's insane.
Well, we're following what has been prescribed to us by the General Assembly. It's nothing that we have, but this is the way we're following correct. Anything else to say?
Take my copies.
Appreciate it. Thank you. You're saying that your house.
We got questions.
1,400.
That's wrong.
Things is 1,400, yours said 1,800.
It's 1,800 something. I told you, they're going by the old assessor. It's 1,800 bucks square foot. That's why they never measured anything. They just walked through real fast.
Well, if the square footage is
That's
wrong,
not correct. So
we
then
could
that's
ask them to.
huge. That's a huge target.
Well, then you'll have to get a,
Yeah.
I mean, let's make the offer and then nothing prohibits us from negotiating this, but the
Okay.
offer needs to go out.
I'm gonna rescind my second vote. I'm not comfortable with second.
Well, it does say living area, so I don't know if the appraisals can use all square footage if it doesn't qualify as living area.
The only spot.
Well, I mean, we're taking your word for it.
Yeah, I don't think it-
do we have a motion to extend the offer?
Yeah, the motion has been made and
Okay.
seconded.
I'm gonna
Okay.
rescind my second though, because if this is not the right square footage, I don't think it's honest.
Sounds like you're trying to rip me off.
They don't know. They don't have the support of-
So
Well, at least you can move on from here. So we're just establishing that.
Let's say if I
I have a third option, I believe, that was suggested that we could provide the town attorney and the town manager to continue to negotiate. And maybe they can come up with a square footage that is more accurate, and then maybe our negotiations will bear fruit. Yeah, at least it's a good starting point. I'm not gonna be able to move forward with any of this incorrect.
Well, okay, we have a motion and a second's been rescinded, so technically there's no motion under discussion. If someone
Right.
else wants to make a second.
Technically, the councilwoman rescinded her second
table it?
based on
It's been
information.
rescinded.
and
There's nothing
So
to discuss.
the second appraisal has 1,400 square foot plus a 500
Yeah,
square foot.
They recognize the unfinished basement.
And the 440 square foot. On it.
So-
So the second one, didn't take that into consideration.
My question is, if we, whether it's good information or bad information, does the process require that we second it to make the offer to then start the negotiations between you all.
You can't make an offer without board action. The statute says it has to be the average of 2 appraisers. So if you don't take any action on the motion, there's no offer going out.
Okay, so.
And then they're free to accept, reject, or counter the offer, as we just saw with Trillium. And,
Okay,
like any other contract negotiation, we can move forward. But without an offer, there's nothing else to be done.
So I don't have to like the offer, I just have to
Make
start
it.
the process.
Yes.
Okay, then I will second that motion.
any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Well, and again, that just, my second only allows the conversation to go forward.
Right. Bob,
For
Aye.
negotiation.
Alicia,
Aye.
Mary,
Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
Alan,
Aye.
So what was explained to us was, once there's an offer such as what we're making tonight, now we can go back and you can go back, make a counter, and we can provide permission for our attorney and town manager continue to negotiate.
Negotiate with you.
To get somewhere where you think it's.
Put on the market.
I don't know if you can.
Well, we have to wait 30 days and then we file an action to condemn the property, and if it goes, if someone wants to buy it, knowing that if there's a condemnation proceeding, they can do that, but talk to your realtor about the viability of that. But if the offer is not accepted, the next step is to file a condemnation action in court.
Or provide a counter.
Yes, I will be getting with you with their offer on paper with the attorney. And at that time, you prepare your counter offer back for the consideration.
Yeah, we're not gonna go rushing off to court if there's a counter offer, but keep in mind, we can't do anything without board action. So it will be either a regular or a special meeting that a counter is discussed and considered.
Okay, I'm gonna consider it a special meeting because I just want this long drawn out like in 2 years. I know your guys' comprehensive plan and it's just a big project and I know there's a time frame and, I tried making a plan for my family here and it's just not working.
I literally spent almost $5,000 in car wash last freaking summer because of you guys here in our alien.
I had to leave a truck washing the cement truck off right behind my brand new
Now you
car.
offer me a phone number.
I've got damage to my vehicle from the construction workers. I mean, we have lived in chaos, complete chaos. I had Jack hit up my window with my baby trying to sleep. The past 2 years, I have lived in complete and utter it's been rough, okay? So you guys get fat because you guys still live there. But it hasn't been pleasant. So you can feel my frustration, my family and my husband's frustration. So it's really rough.
Well, thank you for
But
coming, though.
we
Appreciate
sat
it.
there for an hour, 2 hours with our children, and this is their life. There. We would like answers, and we don't know how this works, and so I appreciate.
Yeah.
Attorneys aren't my favorite, so.
They never are, I understand.
Thank you. Okay, that's one. We have to do the other two now.
I think this
I
is
don't
the only
know.
one they-
Okay, all right, that's what I'm asking.
She requested expedite, they did that.
Okay, the lot on Trillium,
We're trying to talk.
Yep.
That's done.
1240 Sheffield Avenue, 213th in Sheffield.
We have not heard back on that one.
Okay.
The 30 days runs next week, I believe, and assuming we hear nothing, we'll get ready to file condemnation.
Okay.
proceedings.
That's good.
Registered letter was sent.
Good. Moving on to new business, we have Fire Station 2 updates.
Yes, what I have for you is the updates, kind of we're hinging on the delivery of that bronze plaque for the grand opening scheduling, and the bronze plaque is here.
Okay.
So Public Works is kind of going to give us an estimate of time for installation. I will probably shoot an email out to the board to kind of coordinate what's best for the majority, at least to get there for some sort of grand opening.
We have a time frame like a week or 2 weeks or,
They took measurements of it today. I'll wait for Public Works tomorrow to kind of give us a feedback. I would think with getting people there, organizing it, having Chief Martin roll out the red carpet for everybody, I would say 2 weeks. Probably
Okay.
no sooner than that.
sounds good.
Did, yeah.
2 weeks.
Yeah, I think we'll go out the site tomorrow with you guys and see what's best for the installation. And there's not really a foyer there. There's not really a place that you would say, oh, I'll automatically the bronze plaque to go there. So we're looking at the main entrance where the fire department would enter on the east side. So
We have to wait for a nice day.
I would think we can try to schedule for a next day.
Thank you.
Just to be aware, the sign will not be ready, the landscaping will not be in, and the sprinkler system will not be in by the grand opening unless you really want to push it out, but.
Okay. Thank you. Fire station number 2, signage and power gate.
You have the proposal forwarded to you. There's additional costs that were not in the initial building to complete the sign cabinet, pillars, then also to install the electric for the power gate.
Okay, so you need a motion to approve.
I would like that, yes.
I'll make a motion to approve the proposal for the power gate and signage.
For a total of $6,964 that we're looking at.
Yes.
That's one of them, yes.
Okay,
We have the sign columns as well.
What's the total, baby? Yes, somewhere where it's all
$16,894.
I don't have the total right here in front of me.
Okay, Fence Masters, it says complete cost for material and installation, $16,894. And Midwestern Electric is $6,964.
Correct.
Okay. Do we need a motion to approve
And you
that?
have an additional $6,964 for the fence. So the electric was broke down for the sign, for the power fence, and then fence master's portion of the pillars. And then you also have all right signs portion of it, since there's many vendors working on this. And
Hang
that's-
on.
Good Lord.
That part is how much?
4,000.
So your motion would include $4,388.85 for all right signs cabinet, $6,964 for Midwestern Electric,
You're looking at just over $33,000.
$4,828 for Midwestern Electric, and Fence Masters of $16,894.
33074.85. That's kind of my toes on that.
Okay. So we need a motion to approve the signage and gate power for a total of,
$33,074.
thank you.
Amend my motion to.
We have a second?
equal that total.
We had a motion.
Yep,
we're
and a
amending.
second.
I amended
Okay.
it to equal that.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Bob,
Aye.
Alicia, Mary,
Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
Alan.
Aye.
Crack ceiling on Calumet Avenue. Public Works?
I don't know, Rob, if you want to take that one, you got that letter with you?
Okay, it's for a total of $39,754. Mhm.
From Main Street to US 30.
Okay, there's 3 of them here. It says $39,754, $8,280, and $6,542.
The only recommended one is from Jeff at the
Section A.
top amount of section B and C were
Okay.
advised against by engineers.
Okay,
Beyond crack ceiling.
so we need a motion to approve crack ceiling for a total from Site Services for $39,754.
I'll make that motion to approve crack ceiling on Calumet Avenue from Main Street to Route 30 for $39,754.
We have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
Bob,
Aye.
Alicia,
Aye.
Mary,
Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
Alan.
Aye.
Next, we have the new fencing for the EMS building and Sandy Ridge Water Tower.
Yeah, this was added as a discussion piece for at least a topic that's been around for a little bit as far as securing the rear of the police station.
I'm looking at the map here. And I know when we had, Chief Alcott, you and I had looked out there. I don't know if you have the same thing in front of you right here. I see it cuts across straight to the building. Is there any value in bumping that out to the concrete bump out to give you a couple more spaces inside, or was that not?
You bump it out and let you take out the sidewalk and all that. Right now, the last run. The line is perfect for us. With the gate closed, we'll be able to park cars in the time. So we do have space. It's simple, it's easy, serves its purpose right now. I think it's the best time.
Okay, I was seeking a motion for the police station fencing for $111,645,000.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion?
If I may, Madam President,
Yes.
there was an issue raised as to the propriety of using TIF funds for this. I just want to read the statutes and
Yes.
assure you that everything's okay with this. So I am quoting from one of the many TIF statutes, Indiana Code Section 36-7-14-39, which is a mouthful. Subpart B3, capital J, provides that a proper use is to pay expenses incurred by the RDC for local public improvements that are in the allocation area or serving the allocation area. Public improvements include buildings, parking facilities, and other items described in section 25.1 of the chapter. So as long as this is
They're
within
serving.
the TIF area or serving the
Yes,
TIF
serving.
area,
Okay.
we're okay with that. And there was an issue raised, this TIF district dates from 97, I believe. The expiration date on TIFs before 2008, I believe, they're set to expire in 2025. So we should be good as far
Okay.
as the existence of this TIF district.
Okay. We have a motion and a second discussion. Roll call.
I think it's a great idea. It'll
Yeah,
Yeah.
give a
been
couple
waiting for it for a long time.
If I could add for the discussion part, the security was the topic, is what brought this up. The middle portion of this bid in your packet does not address security issues. It addresses beautifying the dumpster location, which is recommended for that area because there won't be a dumpster location once you put the fence up. So there is a portion on there that you can also table that portion and look at what you want to do in the future on it. But the whole project is what the price is, what you.
Okay.
The dumpster portion, you say that the problem having back there is 2.25, sitting on the road. So it becomes a hazard out there. That's why.
What Adam allows it not to exceed on this one too, because there are two steps on here that we were gonna talk to Public Works about if they could perform those tasks instead. And one of them was removing away some old wood fence. I think we're capable of doing that. So if you want to do it, if you want to do it not to exceed, it'll come on under that if Jeff has the capabilities of doing that.
Well, the motion made was for the 111,645. You would want to amend it to not to exceed what?
That number, because there is a possibility of trimming off
We
a
did
couple
it.
of those items.
Okay.
If
All right.
Public Works will do that.
A roll call, please.
Bob,
Aye.
Alicia, Mary,
Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
Alan.
Aye.
Any and all.
We've got one more.
Yeah, we still need to do the
same.
executive water tower thing.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
To which I'll make a motion for fence masters in the amount of $77,684 for the fencing at the Calumet Avenue water tower.
I'll second the motion.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Bob,
Aye.
Alicia, Mary,
Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
Alan.
Aye.
President Tanis, the only thing I want to say is where the tower is, and I brought this up to Frank and Dave and Adam. well, from the tips that we've had with maps from 2003 and then this afternoon, that one little section was not in a tip, but the county is showing that it's in a tip. But I couldn't find the declaratory resolution where that was added, that little parcel in there where the water tower is and the little townhomes behind there. So I think there needs to be research.
Okay.
Because this was pulled up today that it shows that county, but county could have made a mistake. I don't know that. Because all of our maps in previous years never showed that partial in there.
So we need
So
to either
my-
add it.
No, like Baker and Tilly that handles like a lot of our TIF stuff could look at this, but they would need the commission's approval to do that. So we could, whether it's a correction on a county maps or we lost revenue in those townhomes for many years. Because that area was established in 2000. So I just think we need to correct just for transparency to see what happened and how it came about. But that's up to you.
Yeah, I mean, for purposes of the
Okay.
resolutions, you're okay. Because
Okay.
that water tower, I assume, supplies water. to
Right. Everybody, yeah.
Yeah, it services the TIF
Okay,
regardless.
we're good.
Yeah, we're good.
Any and all? Motion for adjournment? All those in favor, voice vote?
Aye.
Thank you.